This is the second part of the topic of decoding top secret humanity for easy tracking. If the first time you see this content is good, you should watch the previous video as a decoding of the truth about one-sided humanity, looking from history to modern society to exploring human nature video link. I will leave in the comment section. The content can help you see through all the people around him. This is a secret of humanity that you, the king of ancient times, was forced to study but never be transmitted to the whole world. An emotional 1-hour video series, intensely shocking people's hearts and presenting the truth about humanity. Bear those who are too sensitive. Surf. Let's go now. Let's start. Dear gentlemen, greetings to you and your friends. Thinking that human nature is good. There's evil from small to big. Many things we do. They all say that human nature is good. So we've defined the human beings are kind and grateful. Trongnia is grateful and pays tribute. Answer: having the world's noble virtues of childhood is really almost everyone, is the embodiment of perfection. For example, such as the affection between teachers and students, friends and first love, because at that time, our relationship is basically not related to benefits. So you've been, the shirt seemed to cover your eyes. But when you walked in, socially your relationship begins to contact, related to the benefits. You will discover their actions are diametrically opposed with what you learned before. Friends borrowing money without paying, an adulterous lover, business partner betrays colleagues, stabbing in the back of a sibling, friend fighting, property that does not care about life and death, fathers, mother when their behavior is not the same as what you learned as a child. You started caught by them hurting and your pain. The beginning of the continuation. Human nature is good or bad. We can look at it from several angles. If the human quality is born good, so why did the three major religions of the Buddha turn around? Must set so many rules to limit. We all know that Buddhism has a lot of precepts, such as not being able to kill Hai Gong, cannibalized meat, can't touch women, etc. If human nature is good, why do we need to consider multiply the genus S, goodness, as a classic? If the human quality is really good, so why does each country need a law to limit human behavior? So let's remember that human nature is good. That's why we need classic books on ethics and laws to maintain stability together of the commune society, looking at human nature through the perspective, mobility of people who have been fathers. You all know when your child is an infant, in addition to looking gentle and lovely look you will give off, it turns out that sometimes their behavior, there is no trace of kindness. Infant news is very simple, consisting of the 8 words: favor. I am a friend who plays against me. That is, it means that babies are born with their own, see themselves as the center. They don't put in your position to think for. You just need them to want something. They will take it if they don't get it. Cry if you cry but still can't get it. They will cry louder until they get what you want. Stop this selfish thinking of young children. You don't need anyone to teach you to do so. Is human nature good or bad? I will tell you about human nature. Neither good nor bad, but selfish in all words or actions of a person is only to satisfy the interests of. This example is just for yourself, will help you better understand. Suppose I and Little America has been in love for 5 years. In reality, in that year I didn't love Little My at all. It's just that I don't have a girlfriend anyway. Being single with a caregiver is always better. Is no one, so I reluctantly fall in love. Chumai, on the contrary, Chumai loves me. Dead and resurrected, I am your man, the most beloved in his life. No one else. As long as she sees me, she will extremely happy just to be with me. Will be happy like a god. So in N years of falling in love with Chumai, every who can imagine without the need to say for sure that Xiaomai took care of me. She can walk kilometers to buy soup, stewed chicken for me to drink. She can save money to buy clothes for me, miss. You can even cheat your parents' money to help me start a business. In general, in those N years, the world of Little America only me, and she gave birth to all of them for me. Results after 5 years. For some love reasons, our love can't keep me and Chumai broke up because I was the one who broke up first. At that time, the world, including Little America, curses me, is a bad guy who says I'm not a herd. Some people say I don't deserve to be. Some people even curse me as animals, and Xiaomei cursed me even worse. She said he remembered never, because I want to cook a pot of cattle for you to drink. I have walked kilometers. I don't remember ever. There was a year when I didn't buy a single item for me but willing to buy it for me. The whole wardrobe, you remember. I was tricked his parents into taking money to help him. Starting a business makes me and my family. Turning his face is not a piano. Music. Mr. Anyway, I've become a. The rat running across the street was yelled at by everyone. I can't get out of the house and get scolded. Unbearable levels. Let's seriously analyze the problem. From the perspective of ordinary ethics. That I did wrong, I was a bad person. My beast is despised by the whole world. There is nothing to say, let's divide. From the perspective of the first human nature. My fairy and Tumai have been together for 5 years. I don't love Tumai at all. But Tumai loved me to death and resurrect everything. Who can imagine I was with someone I didn't love at all in an year, while Tumai was with her. The most loved in 5 years, clearly in 5 years. That year I was faced with a person who I don't love every day I've lived in. How miserable while Xiao Mei has to be with the person she loves the most every day. I can be sure that little America has lived very happily for 5 years. That's the second, as Xiao Mei said, she was born a lot because of me. She walked kilometers to buy chicken just to be able to cook the pot of chicken soup for me to drink like that when she give me the sub pot. Who is the hand? Blessed is the one who suffers for me. Just a bowl of chicken soup, no matter who cooks it. But for Tumai, it's different. Saw the person she loved the most drinking chicken soup. She smiled very happily in her heart. How sweet she feels. Everything deserves her to do everything. No regrets. Everyone should recognize the truth is not to forget that in those 5 years, all she did for me, I never forced her to do it all. Are all voluntary. Why is she voluntarily do? Because when she sacrifices for the person she loves to feel innocent happiness. Blessed. Everyone pay attention to this sentence. What she sacrificed might make her feeling extremely happy. So from the selfish angle of human nature, even what she gave birth to was just to do. Just make yourself happy. Besides, she did a lot for me, but in fact, she only does it for happiness. Their own blessings. So religiously, virtue. She is a good person, I am a person bad. But the truth is that in those 5 years I lived in misery, while Xiao Mei can be with the person she loves and also can sacrifice for the person she loves the most. He lived very happily for n years. So the truth is that I had to endure it. 5 years of suffering for her to get 5 years. Almond. Maybe I'm not a bad guy to that extent. But please emphasize me again. Also does not support such behavior of my man is also a bad guy. I tell this story as an illustrative example. Don't draw a path for you to follow. Don't misunderstood. Through this story, I believe that people can see for the first time. See the truth of the problem. Why Tumai suffers again? Why do people curse? I'm a bad guy because the majority of people in this world all live in one world. Daily sweet world doesn't know anything about the truth of your nature. Human nature is selfish. Who understand their selfish nature can understand human nature. And only when we understand human nature, then they can stand firmly on the base to fight the price of the change between good and evil. In human nature needs to rely on profit. When there is no relationship of interest in the human quality is good, as long as it is beneficial. The appearance of human nature is good. If the benefits are great enough, and human nature will become evil. Tell a mother story. I have 6 siblings. 1 sister and 1 sister, boys, and 3 sisters, and my mother this year 63 years old. Of them have 4 sisters who have bought a piece of land in his hometown to build a building house with the hope of living together and to the end enjoy family fun. But they also have a big worry, which is fear that long-term cohabitation will lead to conflicted because of mom's little things. I asked for my opinion, and I said to my mother that the sisters were all born from the same fetus, and even the little one, most of them have passed the age of no longer. So the little things, every day everyone will understand each other, and you should rest assured to live happily with them in the last years of life. When I said this to my grandmother's mother, I've lost a few years and your state was solved, even though the grandmother did not rich, but one house with some cash in the countryside is still significant. It is because the grandmother's property has been settlement. I believe that the sisters do not encounter major conflicts of interest when living together. If grandma and property, I will be hard to predict. As a result, they may have a major conflict. That was actually when my grandmother passed away a few years ago. The division of assets caused they were unhappy, and some women had. There are contradictions, but fortunately not too much. Serious people who cause conflicts. At most my uncle because he is a boy. According to the feudal ideology of the countryside. Uncle, I think all of your possessions. Grandmother should belong to my grandmother. I divided the property equally and my uncle only. Get a little more than grandma. I've been in a hospital bed for over a year, and my uncle never visited for. It wasn't until she died that the uncle appeared. My aunt was very angry, but I knew that my uncle's actions are in line with the human substance that is the nature of seeking benefits and avoid losses in children. Person noted that the current relationship has been healing, so even if they are relatives and friends, or lover, no matter how good they are, you also cannot fully trust them, because once there is a conflict of interest, these people will definitely hurt. The deeper the trade, the more beneficial it is. The greater the human nature becomes more useful. And when selfishness reaches a level, surely human nature will become evil. Looks at all the ancient kings. Struggle. You can't see the figure of Tian like the coup d'etat of Wei and Wu. Li the Min's disciple killed his brother, and his younger brother, even Wu Taktian, also killed his own son Tre Li. The 9 sons were born in the year 1993 to 10-year-old boys out of school. Whatever the decision to kidnap a boy to age to play and eventually fade. Ring kills the 2-year-old boy later. They were arrested by the police, in which one, a man named John, admitted no denial of killing the human child and put all the blame on John. Escape from all sins and bodies by yourself. Clearly showing the selfish nature of the child. People who are always looking for benefits and avoid. This is a shocking murder case. Liverpool, England. And then the story. This has been moved to the rotary screen into a short film called Detainment, and was also nominated for the Oscar. Think about the good and evil of mankind. Starting from the concept, when you think that the human qualities are good, you will assume that everyone is good. When you think that human nature is, you will assume that everyone are all bad people. For example, 10. Friend, if you assume that all 10 of them are all good people, you would expect wait for them to treat you well every day. If one day among those 10 friends there is a betrayer of you, you are sure will not be able to bear the pain and death. Living like that will make you live in pain. This philosophy of life is called the 9. The opposite, if you assume that all 10 of those friends must be a good person, you won't have any. What are the expectations in the surname? I'm talking about fake. If one day there is no suspect that there is a person who treats you well, will feel like they have won the lottery, and this unexpected fun will make the life of you become happy in this life. Known as the most dead sheep, I notice that the vast majority of all who likes to live according to the philosophy of the 9 births. Yet too is like many couples when married, they often assume in advance that their marriage will be happy and also promise each other about a love, beautiful living together until the beginning of the year. Never divide. If one day they divorce the couple, this husband is very easy to turn into a hater, the other party to death, and never met again. I encourage these married people should keep the attitude of the 9 sons. Yet cinch, don't let love stories, fairy love clouds your intellect. If in the first place you don't assume that that will be perfect, the divorce will be in your prediction, and you won't feel miserable if you can live with until that silver head will be a unexpected thing. But to tell the truth, there are not many hearts in this world. People who have that kind of wisdom are more useful. The happier your life, the more you are selfish. Is this saying familiar? From small to large, everyone around us. Teach us not to be selfish in our hearts. Our minds have sown a seed that selfishness is not good, as a word that means negative, causing many people not to be true to yourself for the rest of your life. Many people do everything just for people other people see, and there are still many people alive just to please others. For example, the one who laughs must also tell himself, I don't know if that smile will make others smile. Without that smile is beautiful. Do you commit something wrong? Please laugh for yourself once. If you don't leave it one day, you won't have a chance anymore. Another sentence: die for the honor of life. In suffering is the image of the majority of all people who want honor to live for others, live in the eyes of others. Let everyone listen to an example. Once about choo-choo. There was a class session for everyone. Eat a meal of our choice together. A restaurant at that time had a classmate set up. That is, take out your phone and call to book accommodation. Restaurant. The whole process of calling takes place. It's as if she has a business relationship, big, with the owner of the restaurant at that time. There were many. Classmate was attracted to him and his heart. Think this classmate has a relationship. Vast arbitrarily find a restaurant. Also familiar. Know that it is very prestigious when we come. The whole restaurant is only anti-spread. A table we eat you say you study. It's not a useless work. Why don't you say, honestly in my world, such a person lives very tiredly. Living for others I am a very simple person. Simply want to laugh. Laugh if you want to cry. Crying I laugh or cry is to make. I'm comfortable I don't care about people. Is the surrounding level comfortable or not? The highest of Buddhism says that clear heart. The intention is only the existence of the self-nature. For example, when you go from 1 to 3 years old has almost never been polluted by the surrounding environment of every action of. You all come from your own thoughts. That is the existence of the nature. God, you can recall a little bit of 3 years old. How awesome yours is fearless. Heaven is not afraid of the earth. Feel this world is yours. You can do everything. When growing up after undergoing education, you are no longer the friend of the past. You have become a robot that does anything. What others do every day repeats. Because the nature of a few years has faded. Do you know why people are afraid of death? There is no reason why people can't bear the wild realm. This life is because they are still attached to regrets. If a person lives a whole life, there are no regrets when they leave. Will definitely be in a serene mood. If you still regret it, how can you let go? So he lives for others. I can't help but regret everyone. This life is like a solo train in the corridor of a selfish life. And live well for yourself. The time when I left, I didn't leave any regrets, because human nature is selfish. You just need to express it more perfectly. A little bit is the theory of evolution. Selfish nature of species. Please let me share a story. A poor single mother raises a child of 9 years old and an 8-year-old. The age of 2 children huddled in the house waiting for their mother. Cold and hunger hugging each other tightly too. Warming their mother has gone out. One day they miss their mother very much and miss them even more than the food that my mother has brought back since the finally eating was 2 days ago. At that time, my mother brought back 2 pears. I given to each other a few times or twice. Pears are passed back and forth between the 2 hands. Their last brother eats big berries, and the younger brother eats smaller fruits than his mother's. They sat next to him with a smile on the corner. Her mouth always teaches the children to give in and help each other, and the children also obedient even when they are very hungry. Don't fight for food to surprise the boy. The eldest son gave the pear to his mother and said, Mom, eat a bite too. Little son also raised the pear to the wet mother's eyes. Mommy says I love you. I'm not hungry. You just eat it. The 2 children looked at each other and continued to eat with larger pieces than their mother spins. Tears fell down remembering her mother. Also always keep the best for. I remember everything my mom did for myself. Outside the cold wind blows, and when the mother came back, the child stared at the bread in his mother's hand and cried out loudly, Mom, this warm story. You can see the selfish nature of human beings. You can see the selfish nature of children when they look at the bread is not okay. No matter how you are educated, your nature who never changes. The next analysis will probably be very harsh, but it's really useful. Human beings have 2 types of matter, and the spirit of materialistic selfishness is human. Die for money, birds die for bait. There is still usefulness. Mental discipline. You can regularly hear the saying you're only interested in your feelings. Have you ever thought about my feelings are not? Spiritual selfishness is enjoyment. The inner joy of the village. From the above story, we can seen from the first minute I saw mother. The first thing the 2 brothers saw was food, because they are really hungry and yielding. Their fasting is only due to their mother's education and social ethics. Some people will say that it is survival instinct. When hungry you say no. That mistake further proves the nature of the child. People are selfish. People are born to a few years, whether it is human nature or a village survival ability to survive. We will eliminate the opponent. Someone will say the 2 children in the story also give in. Forgiving each other. Also gave to his mother. If they are selfish by nature, through education, Isn't it also wrong to change? The selfish nature of human beings cannot change. Change is only from selfishness. Low level turning into high level selfishness. Through education they have realized the value of yield and love in action. Their only inner emotional needs of them doing so makes them feel comfort and happiness. Comfort and this happiness is the selfishness that they want to satisfy yourself. Even if you think about it, everyone else is based on one. The number of needs and purposes of oneself is only are different levels of concealment per person. Helping others besides doing the right thing, good for others. In fact, it is satisfying the needs of God of oneself as a good person. You remember that this sentence does not help people who are the source of joy. That means is when you help others you will feel seeing joy, and that joy is good. Take an example. When you see a leader with a look at the big person, it's also very good. Always think for others. Have you ever wondered at how could he be as good to others as? So no, he is good with others. It is because of the desire for these people to have can repay him in the future. No, you can say that there are people who do good deeds without leaving a name. Expect any reciprocation if you dare to say that. I want to ask you to do that. Do you know about these people? You help someone today, you do not expect any recompense from. But when you help them you feel very happy in the heart, and that joy is your selfishness is also a reward. Largest for many people think that the love of parents for their children are carefree fathers. Of the two children I will talk about emotions of my second daughter was born. We take care of her every day. Don't expect anything but all. Everyone in the family feels extremely happy. To note that we feeling extremely happy, and happiness is emotional selfishness. When we gave it all to her, she loves my daughter not because of emotions of the little girl, because of their own emotions. Of course this little love is beneficial for children. There is no need to doubt. Suspicious. I recently experienced an event have a great influence on my life. I want to share it so that everyone can learn. A friend of mine's son was disease is not a mild disease but quite seriously. My friend must visit. When I come to my friend constantly crying, my friend must comforting her. I said, no one wants you. I'm like that. But the fact that you cry is also does not solve the problem of crying too much. Many also hurt your body. I believe your child doesn't want to either. See the results as so. Some people believe in the good nature of people. Have people who believe in the very bad. But I always believe in the essence of good human age. When I see the mother crying for the child, I feel her absolutely without any selfish element. I still doubt whether the theory of the selfish nature of human beings is a little bit no problem. And then that mother paid a sentence that startles me. If I saying it will definitely startle you. She said, Kwang ah. I understand what you say, but when I cry I feel a little more comfortable. Everyone, think about this saying. This is what she said to herself. She said, when she cries she feels good. A little more she cries out to feel more pleasant. Still has an element for themselves. Automatic human instincts will help you. Selfishly loving children is real. To make yourself more comfortable is also really make yourself more comfortable than the sentence. Say this. Think about when you understanding this saying, you are already capable of very strong control over human nature. Of course, selfishness also has many levels. Different is not only concerned with selfish. Self is selfish to do good for others. Expect future rewards is also the selfish hope you may have. Selfishness at a high level. Then your kindness has been eaten by wolves. Losing kindness forever cannot satisfy your child's desires. The friend who gave them all his heart. But when you also have difficulties, there was a time when the help did not reach their resentment. And resentment will take root in my heart. Surname Sun Li, a Chinese actress who used to supporting an ungrateful person named Hong Hai Tan for 4 years. She knew the situation of a 10th grade boy in the mountains named Hai Tan. Direction through a chapter. The boy has no money to go to school, so she supported him when directing Hai Tan. When he went to college, he spent money indiscriminately, sin and even skipping school. Falling in love and quitting. Learning when Tunla knows the behavior of him, she stopped supporting, but, unexpectedly, the direction of Haitan turned around again. Wrote a long article to sue Sunla. Wanted to destroy Miss Sun Li's reputation. Public opinion pushes into the center of her turbulence. Never thought that the person she had helped with all my heart in many years of becoming an ungrateful person, and, because of this incident, Sunla felt afraid. Don't dare to easily support others anymore. Now she has switched to supporting them. The Cat and the Dog. China's public singer Ladder is only a B-grade singer. But the C of he is not high to help poor students. He has participated in hundreds of performances. All the money earned is used to support for poor students. A total of 183 students and donated more than 300. Himself and his family live in the house is only 58 square meters. A poor life. Difficult in the house without any expensive furniture. Whatever the clothes in the closet are cheap. The money only has a white performance suit. There is a little value in 2005. Diagnosis of stomach cancer needs a large amount of money to investigate, but people who have earned high incomes thanks to the Kong Fai's help chose to remain silent. Silence is more angry than in the when he was sick. There was no one that he helped to visit you again. The only people who spoke up were the students. Demand living expenses for public fees. Answer that he has stomach cancer. Are being treated at the hospital and temporarily. The time when there was no money to respond to the brother student. Even so, you will make money when you've promised to support helping my child go to college. Now my child has only studied in junior high school. You ignore that this is not a scam. Why is this the real version of the story of the farmer and my snake? Help you with all your heart, but in the end, and you bite me again. I just need one time. Say no, and your kindness can't meet their expectations. What they think about the first is not sympathy, and gratitude is a rebuke and a scolding. British writer William Mack said, if the person who received a great favor turn your back on the person who helped you preserve their own face, will surely be even more cruel than strangers. Irrelevant. They need to prove their guilt, the fault of the other person, to explain the unintentional and meaningless of the petty nature of human beings, often beyond your imagination. You feed your dog for 3 days, the dog misses you. For 3 years you are good with others. In 3 years they forget you. For 3 days, day you every day for a beggar. 10 dong a day you only give one. Their peers will curse you behind your back every time. A day only for a beggar, a penny. One day you suddenly give 10 surnames. Will be extremely grateful. I want to thank all 8. The life of your ancestors. Human nature is usually 100 minus 100 pH 1C plus 1 is equal to 100. To understand this formula, you will understand human nature. To help people are joy, but not anyone also deserves to help save people in tribulation. Not saving the poor. People with poor souls are sure will betray your kindness. Finally do. You are cold. There is nothing wrong with kindness, but once you have helped the wrong person, you'll be able to. Is the big mistake. Unlimited kindness will not receive gratitude, only in exchange. Taking revenge from people who are too good. Your belly is a good person. Here are the sayings that many people pursue all the time. In today's life, this highest praise becomes a merciless judgment. Pity for the weak. When you are forced to put on the hat of a good friend, will have to bear a burden that you don't want you to become a reserve. In love, become a mediator. In love, BN becomes a screw. There is always an opportunity for promotion in that you feel unfair. You say you will be evil from now on, but you said bitter words to Knox's heart. Cowardly. You don't dare to betray the price that you have built from small to large. You don't even know how to become evil. You think of yourself as a person, but did not receive the results. You want to be the person you want to be, but discovered that all people around him are disgusted with Tai. You don't know the problem lies in. From the beginning to the end, many students ask, I was bullied by others to work hard, and without earning money. She was deceived by her husband, slip but have to leave without a penny sticking to the pocket, and many other problems. They ask me if I want a peaceful solution for the world. I want to say that a problem is caused by many years of accumulation are not a way can solve. I think you should pay the price for the stupidity of the past. If stupidity doesn't need to be paid, what is a method that can be solved? Well, that's not an insult for us who read books. Many everyday type tens of thousands. The words of a person who lived in the sewer. 20. How to go from bad smell to aroma is not a method. Can be changed because the smell has penetrate to the bones depending on the need to change the boom. There are 2 factors. The first is the perfume tank. That is, finding the right mindset. The second is the odor time factor. 20. Year. Need at least 2 to 3 years to replace. Change. How useless a person must be to be praised by others for their morality. Not to mention famous figures have high virtue. Realistically speaking, you'll be sad. Residue discovers a common truth. When we praise others for morality, that shows that the person is really not what is commendable in other areas. Think carefully about excellent friends around you. Your first reaction, is this person handsome and beautiful? To this person has a smart IQ. Is this person too smart? But if I suddenly mention A, your friend doesn't stand out, you're sure will definitely say this, I feel the person is pretty good, so don't fool yourself. Don't think that others say you have a good personality is something to be proud of when you have no strengths that people others may talk about you. They don't know how to praise you. They can only tell you. As a moral person, you need to think, do you want benefits or do you want fame? When you want to be a good person, you need to be mentally prepared. You only can receive fame and not benefits. Because good people need to preserve your face and know how to regulate. When you are a person, well, you need to have beautiful pictures, but you need to understand that if you don't do it, will someone else makes you need to take care of your body. You are shy. There are always people available, ready to approach the girl you like right from at first glance. You carefully calculate your ego. I can't be humbled. So there is always who is willing to chat with that girl all night. You don't take the initiative. You don't dare to try. The next time the man is with her, will hold C's hand. In the career of many people right now, straight will be won by those who like to stand out. Rob the opportunity to advance. You must know that opportunity is inherently. My friend used to work for a company that an employee, he worked there for more than 10 years. It has always been praised as hard-working people are role models. Virtue of public. What is obnoxious is that others Angan is not afraid to climb, and colleagues is still in the same position with the same salary. His biggest achievement is just get the reputation of a good person. There is no benefit at all. Successful people will always tell you that when working it is necessary to be polite, to know the body knows what is right and knows how to bow. Give it up, because only people. Success is the only way to write history, and they doesn't want you to become a saint. So don't become one. The cowardly coward is crushed by the rich. Brainwashing turns into a good person. Dare to fight for what you deserve. Deserve not to be a good person without means you have to go loot and kill. Arson doesn't mean you have to absurd things to prove. I'm not an obedient sheep, brutally beaten. I want to tell you that the good people you have has played a role in the past that is a good person in the literal sense. That is just the word to refer to people who are incompetent, conceited, and it's just cowardice that good people really have. The principle of limited regulation. In real life there are people who live it's very hard because they want to be a perfect good person in the eyes of people. Always put the needs of others first. Forget your own emotions. I let myself go and push myself into a miserable situation. It is difficult to please people. Other good people, like we used to called addiction, that pleases people others. These people have two conceptions. Misconception first, I good to others, they will be good to me. As long as I'm good to them, they should be good too to me. Otherwise it means that I have not done well enough for these people when giving. Walk in their hearts expecting a response from others. Once this expectation is not, they will think that they have not enough and will set high requirements, more for themselves, and of course also expect more from others. When you give to someone, don't wait for them to respond to my example. For A who eats a pear I didn't expect they'll give me back an example of me. Appreciate a talent who gives them 10 PH shares. I don't expect them to treat well with me. I invest in the ability of they will create value for the company far beyond the number of shares that I gave them. If one day somehow I'm disappointed, I won't mean what, and I just consider it an investment. Business failure. There is always a time to be. There is no expectation of your nature. This person is the official. The second misconception is only continuous giving can only sustain. Good relationship must admit that to maintain a good relationship to a certain extent, certainty of forgiving, patience, and giving is necessary, but giving blindly and relentlessly not only does not make your relationship with others better, but also can destroy that relationship. Why say so? When you give without expecting, wait for you to get it back, you'll create a kind of catch-toads of affection for others and also deprive the opportunity to respond them. In any healthy relationship, there is no giver unilateral way. So give to others the opportunity to repay your kindness at the time of appropriate points or proactively asking them help. This will make the relationship between you and they become firmer than flattering. Not as good as flattering dogs in psychology, a term called the law of coercion when applied to the romantic relationship it has. That is, if only unilaterally good with a who not only do you not receive gratitude from them but also made them consider it's normal, even increasing unlimited requirements, intensifying the exploitation of the giving of. You writer San Mao in the diary of the person Straw recorded such an event in the time she studied abroad in France before leaving her family, constantly reminded when she goes out, she must know how to be patient. Squirrels around people put themselves in a position of others to think about suffering losses. It's okay for San Mao to score a little bit. Remember your parents' instructions to treat everything friendly and gentle. Regularly take the initiative to help friends, cleaning rooms and even spreads, beds and blankets. However, the same friends, the room is not as grateful as San Mao thought. On the contrary, they take advantage of the kindness of. She sent her to do dirty things. Tired of facing the demands of the day, the more excessive the members of the San Mao's room is always yielding and trying, satisfying them. But is such a birth? Can it be exchanged for sincere affection? The answer is no. During an inspection of the San Mao room, the always compliant person has been activated. The chief misunderstood but did not have a friend, and which room stood beside Ms. Even teased Miss San Mao, who understood that not all kindness can be exchanged for true and final affection. She chose to move out of the dormitory. When you're too good with someone, they won't. What do you do if you treat worse than one? A little. They even treat you like garlic. That's my strange qualities. There are a lot of people around us, people who know how to observe and recognize a lot, people who praise them for having a high EQ. Killing and recognizing is not a bad thing, but the excessive emotional care of the others, or that flattery, is the flattering personality we usually speak. To talk about the flattering personality of many people, do not feel strange in social communication. Our association has a part of flattery hot in. I have a colleague who is able to work, called the person with the highest AQ. He never quarreled with anyone he knew. Clearly helping colleagues complete work will make me tired. Endure heartwarming, but to be loved by everyone. I love him for staying up late and working overtime to help colleagues complete successfully. In communicating with friends, the fact that patience only makes the body gradually loses its ego even more. Increasingly weak is flattery. No principle, no self-limit. Make yourself miserable to please people. This misery is just a way of transmitting a message: I treat well too. You are like that. You can treat them well in return, with me a little bit. No. That's what flatterers are: hot, want to show but are afraid to say them. Never dare to ask others. On the contrary, they never refuse to fall in love. People's bridge others. These people try their best to flattering others to try to express themselves. The body longs to be loved by others, but the apathy of others pushes them into the abyss of people with personality, flattering them for fear of conflict with others. They don't dare to express their true thoughts. I don't dare to convey my emotions. Gradually, they live more and more fake, creating more and more priceless, because they are afraid of not being loved by others. So they always observe the expression of others, detect people's needs. Other immediately seek to meet the fear of being others hate. Abandon whether it is reasonable or not to integrate into the community. You are not allowed to, even if they have to wear out your own angles. Remember that the more you try to please others, the more you become cheaper, the more inferior, and the less being valued and satisfied by others. Others are hurting themselves is also the biggest infringement on the price of value yourself and your life do. How to change the personality of comedy. Other people's hearts would rather me be a part of the whole world, not to be subordinated to the world. This is Count Sal's famous quote. Let's study about him. Many people consider often this sentence does not dare to agree. I tell you that successful people have psychology. Hey, when you don't hate this quote, your chances will be. To people with a comedy personality, the hearts of others always have the thought that I have to do something for someone else to like me. I have to lose something new can make others like. I'm loved by others, not is the purpose of your life, as opposed to the goal of life is self-realization and love themselves. These people always play the role of a messenger of peace is maintained. Harmonious gas even when a pulse occurs. Suddenly they think they should apologize. Not someone else's fault you need. Understand that even if there is a conflict with others, even if you are abandoned by others, even if you are not, meet the needs of others you also. Do not lose their lives instead of. Always give up self-esteem to please. Others should be confident in satisfying themselves. I live to do the things you love. Likes people who don't know how to appreciate the body will never receive appreciation. Respect from others who don't know how to love. Self-love won't get love from others who try to do. Satisfaction with others can only live low. Lifelong poor like orphans living under other people's roofs instead of. Stop pleasing others. Be able. Show your personality for others to do. Satisfying you who really know. Cherish their friends. Cherish their confidence. And your demeanor, not your false humility. All the trouble are all caused by yourself. There is a student asked me why he is devoted to everything. People, but these people don't. Ungrateful but also disrespectful. Even bullying him. He said, "Teacher, why?" Thus, in this society, people like. So it's not that most of them are self-sufficient. There are no results. Must be caused by oneself. Why people others don't see you as anything because you are. People who don't have principles. Others say, "Could you also speak well of others speaking badly? You also speak ill of the original other person has. Think you're easy to talk to, but over time they only consider you as fools." Many people misunderstand you sometimes. Are polite to everyone who doesn't dare. Offending someone who shows a personality. Like the Buddha, this is not a cavity. There is no original limit. Others can say thank you, but over time, even saying words of gratitude, grace also becomes a waste of people. Really good is definitely a clear person. On love and hate. Why people others don't take you for granted because I don't know how to refuse anything to look for. To your friends, you agree to anything. Others give it to you. You are all considered. Newspaper from time to time, others will consider. You are like a trash can. Just have garbage. They will throw at you because they don't dare. Thrown elsewhere in the bones of the human. There is always the existence of the others don't see you as anything because you don't know how to take advantage of the opportunity to. Expressing anger when you should be angry. Don't get angry when you shouldn't be angry. You're angry with someone who never. Angry that no one respects a person. No one is afraid of being angry every day. Find the opportunity, conditions and circumstances you like, suitable for anger so that everyone knows. To your boundaries is the sign of a person. Be good at telling about a personal experience. Actually every time. The first meeting we should understand that humans are not scary but nature. Scary new people will worship, respect you because they don't understand you and all. Don't dare to do something dangerous. 10 years ago when I was still working in our company department has a new manager on the first day. He respectfully nodded his head. Asked because he didn't know who I was after. This manager checks each person in our department when checking. To me, the person with an easygoing personality, I criticizing and scolding. When I checked to a colleague who was different from him, we realized that they are not easy to bully. The other colleague's face is this manager. Become like a dog. Once I was late. Forgot to inform me in advance. He scolded me when I said I didn't respect him. What do you think of him because of this incident? As resigned. But other colleagues, when it comes, it doesn't come. He didn't even dare to say a word. Every time you ask someone else, there is a sow. No, now I am writing a book and my head still has a disgusting image. After many years, I understand that both the bad consequences are caused by myself. From there, I understand that the attitude of people other for you does not depend on them. It's up to you because you're so kind. Always think for others because you are easy. Talk endures everything without. Know how to refuse because you always don't study well. Indecisive. Kind guesses need to have limits. Generosity also needs to be principled. Don't differentiate between right and wrong. You only know doing good for others hurts. Love yourself for others to take advantage of. Don't be a good person without gender. Limit any other person's request. You agree to anything other person wants you to give up on any mistakes you make. Also forgive any hurt you. Also accepts even good people will also not be able to control the desire. Bullying you have to understand that humans, not scary but human nature. Scary new just find you easy to talk about. Things that others will constantly bother. You see that you are easygoing, they will be more awkward. With you seeing that you don't refuse, they will try to demand more of you as they get used to you. With your submission, they won't withstand your resistance. Accustomed to your concession, they will not accept. Rejected by human friends often bully weak people. Fear of strong people. If you don't have the spirit, they will bully you. If you are angry, they will don't dare to bother you. If you finish, they'll find a way to please you. When someone else is bullying you for the first time, they're really testing how easy you are. Bullying. No, if your actions show them that you are easy to bully, they will continue bullying you. If your actions show them that you are not easy to bully, they will don't dare to bully you anymore, and they'll choose bullying others. So the fact that people other frequent bullying you don't have, it's their fault. It's your fault as you step by step teach them how to bully you. Being a good person with a trick has a sentence. An old proverb says that good people are punished by people. Deceiving the heavens does not deceive the wicked. People who are afraid of heaven are not afraid of the meaning of people. Good is easy to be deceived by others, but heaven will not deceive them. And a wicked man, people are afraid, but heaven is not afraid of him. Of course the heavens will not be afraid of the wicked, because the acts of the wicked are actually not. What does it have to do with the great omen of heaven? In that it does not deceive good people, nor are they afraid of the actual evildoers who bring them. Learn for us that if you are too good a person, you will be deceived by others. If you're a bad guy, everyone will be afraid of you. But will heaven punish you? Evil people. Not everyone forgets. Lao Tzu once said that heaven and earth are inhumane. For all things like grass, it means heaven. Earth to all beings, nothing to hate. But there is no mercy. Heaven and earth are inherently unintentional. If there is love, then it is also getting old, isn't it? Heaven weakness, friendship. Heaven heron. Enjoying the purity of heaven, not caring about the little things. Pick up the wicked who deceive the good people on earth. So in the market some people, experts, defraud each other to make money. Heaven enjoys its purity. Who cares about whomever? The Tao Te Ching teaches. We believe that heaven and earth operate. Use the heart of humanity to be natural. So it means that the attitude of heaven and earth towards for the human world is to let it be natural. Development. Has anyone noticed the fact that if the heavens are really angry, the good people and the bad guys are all subject to fire? Just like seismic natural disasters do not discriminate between people, good or bad. So we have to mix kindness with tactfulness. Benevolence without tactful manners is ignorant to live in the world. If not a little cunning, you deal with the bad guys with how what you learned as a child is to deal with good people. Don't just a good person becomes a bad person. Good on the outside, bad on the outside, but good in soul. When you look bad in the eyes of people around you, often the relationship will last longer, because the basic cause of all the breakdown of the relationship is due to expectations that lead to disappointed. You're too good with them, they'll consider it is natural at this time. If there is if you don't like it, they will be resentful. Your head makes them feel you're pretty hard. The lowering of their expectations, then suspect that you are a little good to them. They will feel surprised. You may not be stabbing into other people, but you must have sharp thorns. You can be benevolent, but you must be sharp. I can invite you to eat meals worth 200,000 VND or drinking alcohol, price 200,000 VND, but if you owe me 100,000 you have to pay. That is the principle. If someone else orders you to buy water to help them with the wrong tone, if you follow the bottle, that water won't worth it. They would think that anything, whatever you do, is a matter of course, if so that they form that habit anytime. If you don't follow them, will be angry. The attitude of others to you are all is nurtured by you. So the right method, what to do when they ask you. Don't do anything until they don't expect you to buy water for them. You suddenly Nien bought water for them at that time with a bottle of water to make a valuable contribution. Really not because you asked me to. Gave it because I wanted to. So I gave it. I can give it to you, but you don't can ask me what I do voluntarily for you. You will appreciate but what you request, and then I make you will feel. See me weak when you learn how to rejecting other people's requests in response. You'll see others start to respect you. No one can please them all. Everyone. You don't need a lover. You just need the person who loves you to love more. And the person who doesn't love you, just let them go. Never pretend to be a moral person. The stupidest behavior is in your heart. thinking of the benefits but still trying to speak. Morality finally loses face. The hand of the world is obviously not acquainted but invites. People who go out to eat obviously just want to spend 200,000 VND but still try to pretend to say, you order whatever you want. And then people order the expensive things and his heart are angry. In class, obviously don't want to go, but his mouth didn't refuse to go and then he didn't. Resistant to false hypocrites. Others owe money in their hearts to demand, but there is no problem with your mouth. Just take it slowly. After speaking, he scolded himself for being untrustworthy. You don't get tired. It's a little simple. A little bit of reality, a little bit of cold, a little search. You will be much happier. The greatest stupidity in life is to leave kindness for those who do not. Worth the poor eating animals and plants. Rich eats the poor. In this world other than real people, enthusiasm, there are only two types of people who will propagating humanity and morality throughout. The first type is the hypocrites. Extremely clever kind of thing. The other is the weak and bewildered. Despair of the tragic world of the weak. Drowning because the weak are too tragic to no longer hurt. Just imaginary. Out of an ideal world in one head. The desire to build a paradise on earth. So they strongly propagate morality. A certain great man once said that there is no which snowflake is so pure. The weak are just the weak. They have never think that in the last thousands of years in. Who is the winner of those? It's not pure. Those weak people just want to escape reality. What we teach only masters to be able to penetrate. Understand what some of the underdogs say. I teach it too hard. They don't agree. It's not that they don't agree, it's that they, knowing that I am not qualified to study and use, they are afraid that others will learn. This is too powerful to deal with them. So there is a call for people not to study anymore. According to the logic of the weak, is it the United States? Women's makeup products should also be. Objection because it increases the likelihood of committing a crime. The sins of men you shouldn't see. The knife that hates and calls for all. People don't use knives anymore. A good person who uses a knife can save suffering. Rescue motivation and secrets behind religion. Virtue is when the weak see what we are too strong. They are afraid of themselves and bronze. Kind of going to become victims, so they come up with theories about moral humanity. Hope to be able to control the circulation. That strong thought when a strong person see their powerful things. They don't even hope many people have. Can learn. So they also give reasons. Theory on moral humanity to prevent transmission of ideas. Their actions are the same, but their destination is different. The purpose of strong people is that they want control the transmission of ideas of. We let them hide alone in the mountain cave to learn these two types of people. The first type is called the island protector. The second type is called the female counterfeiter. The so-called guardians of the religion are the innocent people defend their morality all the time. Propaganda day on moral humanity. Saving suffering. They only think about the world ideal in the market war. In fact, they still live in a dream world, dreaming of the weak person who doesn't know himself. This weak person can only use 4 words to describing a self-proclaimed noble thing worth. The most deplorable of this type of person is when they don't know where they are wrong, where to lose when others harm them. They still want to forgive the strong who have harmed me. Oh, these people only need to study 3 levels of public education. Our husband also earns. Many great people, Gandhi said, saying the mouse classic doesn't qualify for sparing things for cats in the trade war. Their school has endured enough corruption. Others who don't pay debts or tact doesn't have any qualifications to talk about. Forgiveness is also not in a position to talk about. Drill. Dung many women who hate other women to rob. Her husband H hopes to be able to beat the fox to death. But I ask you to beat your child to death. Is that crystal of any use you beat to death? Bok Ho is a star. Can you guarantee? Tell your husband not to have an affair and beat him to death. The White Lake Star is still the Black Lake Star. Hong Hu Sing you can beat to death. They shouldn't hate people. Love and love that you should hate yourself. Not enough energy to be right people. This guardian believes that he is pure than anyone they are better suited to be in the mountains and the reality of the war. School is completely inconsistent with. They are more interesting than they feel. Shall have the qualifications and powers to approve, judge their friends, They feel that they have enough wisdom to teach you what is right and what is wrong. The mind of these guardians is quite simple. They think that there are only two worlds, either black or white or shiny, light or darkness, so they all the time. The day of becoming a messenger of light, so bright that it can kill some guards. This Taoist is constantly spreading the word. Imagine for others with each hope to create a world of unity for everyone. Believe that they are good people, and they believe that they can use a value perspective to control the hypocritical masses. Different from the bodyguard. Bodyguard is not understanding human nature should be wrong, but deceive you blindly. Taoists understand human nature in order to taking advantage of you. This kind of hypocrisy, constantly spreading humanistic ideology, meaning for you just so that everyone believes that he is a good person, and then it is easy to harm you. The most annoying thing is, because he is spreading the word of humanity all day, so after he harms you, you will still forgive him. The hypocrisy. The mouth of this moral faction from the surface looks like a good person but is real. They just want to play the role of a good person. Everyone knows the sophisticated deceiver. Most of them have the most sketchy appearance. There is still a long way to spread moral ideas. The purpose is to make you vulnerable to deception, so that it is easier for him to refer to the character. Unruly music in the movie Ungo Gang. For example, when you are in business, if the 3 out of 3 sentences say something important, most in business is honest. Very straightforward business. What my is my, not mine, not yes. If the other party says many similar sentences, so you have to be extremely vigilant to that person, such as your friends, repeatedly, that I don't actually have. Don't bother about you doing that. Although, but I'll tell you the truth, actually, he very bothered about that. If he really indifference, why does he keep tell you he doesn't mind? People who really don't care won't say. Or you often listen to other people say, I'm a very straightforward person. I haven't. I am a very rich person. Religion. If they keep repeating that kind of sentence over and over again, so if you do it more than 3 times, you should be vigilant to them. If anyone tells you that where this is not 300 taels of silver, it is sure there are 600 pieces of silver in that place. At some people ask you to borrow money, and people, it just emphasizes that you just trust me. I won't fool you next month. I'm going to pay. Aren't you still afraid of me? If they talk so much, you should be wary of the purpose of their just to make you feel at ease. When you are assured they can get that amount of money, friends are a little knowledgeable about human nature is clear. The more people who promise you, the more likely, the more difficult it is for them to repay their debts, maybe even not paying. The more promised as possible, they are now in urgent need of money, the more their situation has come. And people who make few promises, promise to repay the debt on time than the person who is full of profits. Promise. The more you promise, the more you right. Scene. If someone keeps telling you that later they will treat you well, like that later they will bring you what benefits will give you hopes substantial. What to encounter such a situation if you want to. The other person is telling the truth or lying to you. Need to wonder in the process of communicating with. They gave you what you got. Found that many people said it sounded very good, but if you think a little more carefully, you'll find that the more people talk, the more or the less action. That is the type of hypocrisy. When you can distinguish a person as good or bad, don't based on what the person says into what the person do. If a man tells the woman that if you are with me I will give you a car you don't care about, mind his promise. See what he has now given you, then decide whether to believe him or not to believe him. Or you can frankly tell, he said that you should give me a car. Before and after that I will consider. The being deceived by false people is usually just listen to them talk well without seriously checking. Behavioral syndrome of they suppose a customer tells you that he is a friend of the general manager of a certain big company and will introduce it later. More resources for you. He even tells you that next year will buy 10,000 cartons of your products, but on the day of the order, he said just 100 boxes temporary. You have to be extremely careful with this person. There is a big difference between the promise and the actual actions of a person are capable of. That ability is a cheater. Good people often say that they are bad people, and bad people often talk, I'm a good person, a perfect person. There is definitely a problem of defects is definitely deliberately concealed. A person who seems to have obvious flaws, points, it will be relatively more realistic. Open, wide-eyed people in this world who speak. It often looks like a little guy, but many small people disguise themselves, transforming himself into a hero. If this is the first time you are exposed to our ideas, maybe it will be a little difficult to accept, but I can tell you that feeling is true. When you gradually learn more, you will realize that you can feel the wonderful taste from yourself. Evil in human nature because whatever you hate is what you are lacking, and also which it is necessary to open your eyes to see through humanity. The world was cold when I was a child watching a lot of movies. Wu Heip has only two characters in his heart: heroes and villains, black and white, clear, big. To realize that the world is not simple. Like the movie, Wu Heip has no good people. There are absolutely no bad guys. Lao Tzu has two: clear water fishing, have real fish, out of black and white. There is also this gray area is the key to succeed. Why many people start businesses in the market have all failed. Everyone is pursuing peace in the heart. To pursue conscience when dealing with face-to-face interests, often choose your morality. Can observe the dark history of Edison. He is simply a person doing business with many patents. We bought it, not by you yourself. Gloomy. For the rest of his life, Edison immersed in litigation, from which you can understand what behind Edison's work abroad is. The story of the class of many successful people when appearing in public to tell about how they succeed, but you absolutely don't believe. What you need to learn is how to earn their first coin at. Why do you say that many bosses are guilty of this primitive water sin? Often occurs when they get the first fairy tadpole poison of jealousy and human nature. The person who releases accepts strangers better. I'm better than letting my close people be good, better than meeting strangers or surpassing. If you are superior to yourself, you will be jealous and admire. Surrender flattery to meet a good close person. A little more or more than me, I will be jealous. Hate, harbor malice. Most of the suffering of people are not because of poverty, but because they are foreseeing someone close to you pass. I'm annoyed and can't accept. This kind of person is so stupid that right away even pigs scornfully told about an incident happened in Sichuan, China. There was the couple loves each other very much for 12 consecutive years. Major attacks over the past 12 years, each time giving birth to a child in less than 3 years. 3 children, before they all died tragically, or due to poisoning, or due to failure to provide emergency care in time. They put all their heart and soul into taking care of their second child. The tragedy still occurred in 2008. Children who were less than 3 years old also leave without their wives. Which husband can go through the challenge? Terrible in such a human world. They pray. Saving the police after a police investigation. Exclude accidents identified as homicide. Deliberately the final result of the investigation. The perpetrator is their sister-in-law. When confessing to the crime of a rural woman, with an emotionless face, that one sentence keeps giving birth to many sons. I just give birth to a daughter I don't like. So when human envy reaches a certain degree of anger flares up in my heart is even more terrible than what you imagine. They could throw away the socks. Both close feelings, morality, boundaries. In my heart I just screamed what I was. You can't have it just because you don't have it. You live a little better than you have. Except for my parents. No one wants to. You live better, especially people the most intimate on the surface, of great courtesy. His mouth said congratulations, but his heart was holding a knife and stabbing him in the back. The saddest thing is that after the war, overcome all difficulties outside of you, stabbed by the closest person, the knife behind the biggest collector of the game. Life is not open guns. Willows, which are cruel hidden arrows from neighbor, greedy, jealousy, and human nature when pushed to the extreme points that make people have to use. You can trust people, but don't trust human nature. Humanity can't stand a test. Challenges in the face of challenges. You really can't face it yourself. To yourself, skepticism is always safe, rather than believing that it has tasted. What emperor is not seriously suspicious of cow? Removing Lu Bang Zhou Yuan Zhang is all available. Killing injustice rather than trusting humanity. If the opponent is weaker than you, you are inferior. More miserable than you will sincerely hope they get better because it's Emotions include conceit and compassion. If the opponent achieves success before you or surpass you, you will felt extremely distressed because of the feeling of sub of the lost winner. Your best friend fail, you will feel very sad. People, your best friend gets a high score, most you will feel sadder than anyone. Otherwise, That's the dark side of nature. People don't keep praising the beauty of the good all day long without knowing the main. I'm stupid and sing songs everywhere, singing foolishly to teach people. Other don't tell others about these. Rejoice because they will not be happy, but only don't tell them about being jealous of you. Sad things they will not pity. Harm that only mocks you for controlling them. Fearless human qualities are bright. Throughout Shanghai's chief is due. The blue moon at first when returning to Shanghai, just a poor and emaciated teenager. Work as a servant in a famous mansion of Huang Kimbin, Tycoon Tan Bang. So how can a teenager be peaceful? Often became a Ben Tycoon, Shanghai because the green bean sprout has been distributed. Revealing the secret of human nature has. Once the Huang Kong mansion was hit by the robber fell at that time the owner wanted to. The servant went out to chase the robber but no one dares to know who dares to rob their house. Huang is definitely an aggressive robber. The last ruins inadvertently tasted. The owner called Dunaguyat Thang to chase, and stupidly he single-handedly chased. Unexpectedly, he caught the name thief when he met the robber. Dunaguyat Yon was very fear in the moment of confrontation. Through the light the moon he had seen a big secret of this world on the face of the name. That thief was the robber's extreme panic. I think this person must be a hand. The top assassin of the new Huang family. Dare to chase alone in panic. Extreme chaos in the blink of an eye. Robbers were caught by Dunaguyat Thang. Frightened, scared, afraid. Dua is as green as. There are countless encounters in this world. Countless intelligent people have countless thoughts. Capable people, countless educated people. Countless fluent people. But why? It is really possible that success is as small as. So this is why, because in the heart of a fearful person has two equal forces. It is reason and fear. When people who are afraid of basic wisdom is zero that night. The green Dua on the cold and empty long street of Tianjin. Finally understood the world. In the Huang mansion, there are many brothers. Heroic on such as dragon painting and Hoji Shui. All of them were made by fear. No one dares to take action against the robbers. Peel just because they're too scared. Too scared. And the actual robbers also are afraid of death. Afraid of being snatched. Not afraid of death. Most in the imperial palace see that this world is the world of the cowards of the green. Dua laughed. Then everyone is so scared. I'm still afraid of what he thought he was before. Too small to know what to do in the future. Why there is a lot of wildness in my heart. Now he understands. In fact, everything. Everyone was just as confused as he was. And because of these confusions, less wisdom of, they all aspire to have one strong appearance indicates the direction and decide for them, and they just have to follow. The person does whatever the person says. So too many people crave the appearance of the strong man, not becoming a strong person. This world is the one who has the guts. Big master the shy people who have liver masters, people with big livers. Finally, after viewing the analysis and deciphering the nature of this human being, normally, it will be difficult to accept, but wise people will be delighted. They may say that this is not the child righteous way, but in their hearts can't leave it. They can use this trick to step to the top of the chain. Food is not exactly human nature. Good is not necessarily evil. It is not. Being beautiful is not bad in nature. Man is like a criminal knife. Using a knife to kill a doctor, using a knife to save people, as they say, Niet Neon. Becoming a one-minded Buddha into a ghost. The way between Buddha and ghost is just one idea.